Good evening, everybody. This is episode 6 now, episode 6 of the Camology podcast. And for this episode, I'm interviewing not only a dear friend, but a man who has come up with one of the best initiatives I've heard about in the last few years. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Paul Lane. Hi, Paul.
Hey Dan, how you doing?
I'm not too shabby considering everything that's going on. So Paul, do you want to give us a bit of background on yourself? Whereabouts obviously being the Camology, the Cambridge podcast, I'm interviewing people from Cambridge. So do you want to give a bit of background on yourself, where you're from in Cambridge?
Sure. Yeah, I'm based in Great Shelford. I've been here for nearly 20 years, I think. Moved out of London and Cambridge has been my home since then, so 20 odd years.
Wow, you're making me feel really old. You didn't say that. So you've been here for 20 years. So when you're not producing amazing ideas like the skills and trade swap, what were you doing previously? What are you doing previously?
Well, were is probably the operative word because it's gone quite quiet. So I've been, since the age of 17, I've been a creative graphic designer. And in 2002, I think it was, I started working for myself under the name of Savvy, but also known as the Design Startup Guy. So it's basically graphic design, branding, websites, design for print and online, everything you'd expect a sort of graphic designer to do, really.
So what do you call it? Do you call it your professional colour-inner? Is that what you?
Yes, that's the description I gave that I heard my stepson give to one of his friends one day, and they were sitting around watching the TV, and his friend said, "Oh, what does your stepdad do?" And he says, "Oh, he colours in for a living," and it kind of stuck. I think it's a really lovely sort of very innocent description of what I do, and some people say it simplifies it, but it is basically colouring in.
Did you ever go over the lines?
Always, because I'm a man of a certain age and my hands are a bit shaky, so there's a lot of stuff going over the lines these days. Happy days. So obviously at this time of the year you're really busy, so you've got loads of work on and you're inundated with loads of jobs. Is that correct, or am I trying to? Yeah, I mean, my work, because it's project based, it can be quite busy. It can be it can be quite quiet, but usually this time of year I've always got something that I'm working on, someone's branding or someone's website, or some project that I'm involved with through BNI. I'm always getting sort of quite a varied sort of amount of projects to work on, so it's many and varied. But you're right, I should be quite busy now, because what tends to happen is I get really busy up until school summer holidays, and then it goes a little bit quieter. So this is one of my busiest times, and I have all the projects that were sort of bubbling in the background of actually everyone's sort of put them on hold. So I find myself in a situation of not much work, which I think there are businesses out there that are incredibly busy through this time, and there are others like myself that it's just gone incredibly quiet.
So you decided to feel sorry for yourself and let the world cave in, or what have you decided to do?
I did do that for 2 weeks. Didn't achieve anything.
How did that work out? Was it all right?
It was a sad thing to behold. So I was actually just thinking, well, what could I do to help? Because I'd seen an amazing story about someone that we both know whose business, they were very concerned that their fruit delivery business was going to go. And in an amazing sort of turnaround, he changed his business overnight to deliver fruit and veg to local people rather than local businesses. The local businesses all stopped the contracts, and another one of his contracts was schools. And someone said to him, "Why don't you just think about delivering fruit and veg to people?" And he's gone from worrying about whether his business will continue to being in a situation of now worrying that he can fulfill everything that's needed of him. So an idea came to me about, right, okay, this situation is obviously going to go on for a long time. What can I come up with that actually might help?
Can we name check him? Because I think he deserves all the press that he deserves.
The only reason I haven't is I've known him for years and I can never get his surname correct. Neil.
Okay. We'll call him Neil. And Neil from what company?
Cambridge Fruit and Vegetable something.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Well, we'll put the link to his company in the description.
He's a beautiful human, and he does deserve some recognition of how he's turned around his company.
He is the nicest person in the world, isn't he? Second to you, of course, yes. Paul. But he's
a very close second down.
Right, very close, very close.
Sorry, based on sort of that idea of how things are changing, I came up with the idea of people aren't going to be able to afford to maybe buy sort of professional services like mine as a web designer or a lawyer or whatever people need. People is going to be tight for money. So I came up with the idea of Skills and Trade Swap. And I thought, well, why don't I just start up a Facebook page and see what interest I get? It's only been about 2 weeks, and we're coming up to 300 likes on the Facebook page. And also LinkedIn, a lady on LinkedIn contacted me and said, this is an amazing idea. And she took it on herself to actually get me media contacts. She's got media contacts. I've already had one piece in Cambridge Independent, and there's another one going out fairly soon in Cambridge Evening News. Wow. So it's just about getting the word out. People have started coming on to the Facebook page, as I said. I've also built a website just to give people more information about how it's going to work. Because this isn't my remit. I don't know quite how it's going to pan out. So we're all sort of going to be learning as we go along and seeing how these swaps start. There have been a few swaps that have happened behind the scenes to sort of test them out, and they seem to be working fine. So I've now, as of today, I've created a group page off the side of the main Facebook page that people can now start posting if they've got a need for something or they've got a skill that they'd like to offer, and people can see, say, for instance, as me as a web designer, I need a website. Maybe he needs some building work done or something like that. And off that, I've got a carpenter who's going to be doing some decking replacement at my property. It's one of those jobs that DIY for me stands for destroy it yourself. I'm sure I could buy the materials and do an okay job at it, but I'd always rather someone professional did it. So a guy called Connor Randall, who's a carpenter, we've already arranged to do a swap where he gets a website built, and he's going to do the decking and some other bits and pieces for me. So it's working out quite well.
So just to sort of clarify, so it's not just, this initiative is not just trades, it's not just builders, carpenters. It's
correct.
So just you want to clarify that. So it's any skill along with
exactly.
trades as well.
And it can, it can be anyone who's got a personal skill that it may not have been a professional skill that they have, but they just happen to be very good at it. It's as broad as that. Because it says trade in the swap, in the sort of logo, I think people have thought, it's only trades. It really isn't. So if someone who was in the trades needed the help of an accountant, they could do a swap. And likewise, if someone has a hobby that they're incredibly talented at, it could be something like painting pet portraits. They can do a swap with someone, it's as wide as you can possibly imagine. Whatever someone's good at, they can swap that skill, trade, profession, whatever it is, with someone else to do something that they can't do. And the great thing is that money is going to be tight. And I think money's going to be tight. The virus itself will eventually stop, but there's going to be financial problems reaching 6 months, a year. Who knows how long it's going to be tough for people financially afterwards.
I'm interested why your head went to pet portraits. That's quite interesting.
Yes, I think it's because in the background, I think it jogged because your background, I can see obviously all the dogs in the background behind you. It just sort of popped an idea. I thought, well, what could someone do as a skill, that's something that they naturally got an amazing skill at? and that's what popped into my head in the back of the photos of your dogs.
We do actually have somebody actually painted a pet portrait for our two boys anyway. So that's
cool. There you go.
Perhaps we should get them involved.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want to get as many people liking the page as possible. I mean, we're hitting about 100 and whatever a week. So as long as the momentum keeps up, I was quite staggered. I looked at the stats on the website the other day, and it's had 500 hits in one day. So people are obviously really interested in it, and it makes me smile because I don't know whether you've had a chance to look at the website, but on to my that way, I've given an example of two characters, and the person on the left has an answering service, which is my wife's business, Zoom, not the conferencing thing that we're on, but she's got an inbound, outbound company, and I'm the slightly stubbled graphic designer on the right. And it sort of tells the story of how two professionals can actually, and it's like a younger version of both of us. Well, maybe a younger version of me. Chella still looks pretty hot.
I was going to say you actually look like Rylan in that picture. I don't know if you...
Until you check out my dodgy teeth.
Yes, true. But yeah, you've there's artistic license in that, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. But I thought it was quite a nice example because I thought, well, what can I put as an example visually for people to really quickly understand how it works? And I thought, well, why don't I just use me and Chella, my wife?
Fantastic. Well, yeah, all that graphic design has come in handy. All those 20 years in front of the computer.
Okay. 20 years? I've been a graphic designer longer than you've been alive, mate. Oh.
Wait a second. Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on. So okay. So you've got the website. You've got the Facebook. You've had the media coverage, which is great. So what other ways can we kind of spread the word? Because again,
that's a really good question. Because I mean, the best way is if you go onto the site and you can see the benefits. Go onto the Facebook page and you can see the benefits of it, and you've liked the page. The brilliant thing that you could do for me is then invite everyone in your family and friends.
Yeah.
If 10 of them pick it up, off 250 people times 10, that's a lot of people. So it's about getting as many people involved, because the thing that's most important is if I've got something that I need doing, there has to be that person, and likewise there has to be that match. So there has to be a lot of people on that website for the actual matching to happen.
Yeah. Because I mean, going back to what you were saying earlier, I mean, it's just nobody's got this crystal ball, but best case scenario, the virus sort of peters out, if you like, July, August time, but we don't really know how long it's gonna last. We don't know how long, because I don't want to use the word, but it could turn into a long recession. We're certainly going to turn into a recession. Does it turn into a depression? I mean, it's unfortunately, I think this could become unfortunately and unfortunately, this could become a really important part of sort of microeconomics, where people have to, if people want to push their business forward and they can't they want to get a website, or they want professional photography done on a website and they can't afford the
Exactly.
500-600, it's going to be invaluable, isn't it?
I think so. And you imagine what it was like when you first set up, and it's hard enough to start up a new business anyway, but all those upfront costs that are needed, like the branding, your equipment, your whatever, if you can swap those to get your business off the ground, it's going to be a lifesaver. I mean, in my heart, that I hope we don't need this in a year and it just disappears, because if we don't, commerce is kicked back in and everything's fine. But it will be good. I hope it'll be helpful for a certain timeline. For people, because otherwise, the world's going to be in a serious state if people are going to have to keep on doing this and no money is swapping hands, we're just swapping skills, trades, and whatever.
It's going back to like medieval times. I bring 4 sheep over to your house and you give me a pot of gruel or something.
It's
exactly.
It's but a lot of people that I've been talking to about this, a lot of people have obviously been thinking in depth, and for all that is horrible about what's happening, I think it's giving us all time to take stock of actually what's important. And the material stuff really isn't. So I think,
but it really, let's focus on that. It really isn't. You're in this kind of bubble of stuff and pushing on and career progression and all this, but it shows you how, don't get me wrong, it's important. It gets, it's part of getting through life. But when something like this happens, it just instantly puts in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
I think the world, the planet, humanity has been well overdue this kick up the backside. Be kind to people. It's not all about money. Money doesn't make you any better than anyone else. Wealth doesn't make you any better than anyone else. It's going to be a massive leveler. And I think hopefully a lot of people will come out of it a bit more humble.
Really recalibrates people's perception, because again, touch wood, Boris pulls out of this and makes a full recovery. But it shows you how you can have all the power and all the money and all the privilege, and not in the world doesn't really care, does it? It's completely.
It doesn't care who it's going to affect, and there's nothing more important than your health. And even if you look after yourself, and we're hearing stories of very healthy people who are being crippled by it, and some people are losing their lives. And it's not just the elderly. So it's a great. I don't want to use that word. It's certainly a leveler, and it's just the whole idea behind this is just trying to help people out in a really, for want of a better term, a really crappy time.
So I think you kind of been very honest with. We've chatted previously about this. You're not, there's no intention from your half to sort of monetize this. This is not you're not going to make your millions with this, and no. So
no. I mean, it was interesting. Some people, when they were contacting me, they were saying, "Well, how are you going to monetize it?" And I said, "Look, I need to stop you right there. That's just not. It's not what this is about. It's about helping people in a really bad sort of situation." And I think. And then carrying on those conversations, and they said, "Well, what are you getting out of it?" And I said, "Well, one, hopefully it's going to help some people. But I said, I'm a great believer if you do something that helps a lot of people, it'll come back to you, and I'll be busy as a web designer again."
Yeah, it's almost like it's as you're saying that, it's like that's like a weird thing to say. You do good for other people, and you're good in your community. You help your fellow man, and that's almost become like you're doing that. We should be doing that anyway, shouldn't we?
Well, exactly. And again, sort of going back to what we were saying, I think this is a great leveler, and people are thinking differently, and they're thinking about their next door neighbours. And my next door neighbours, they got 2 young children, and one of them developed a cough, so they went on shutdown for 2 weeks, and they hadn't said anything. But I noticed neither of the cars had moved. And I thought, I'm just going to check in they're all right. And I was just like picking up milk and stuff for them while they were in complete sort of isolation. And then I said, because they're more friendly, there's a really sweet little old lady next one up. Yeah. And I said, "Is Anne okay? Have you been in touch?" Because I know they sort of chat with her quite a lot. And she, at the time when it all started getting really bad, was in Spain. So we were really concerned that she wouldn't get back. But she is back. And we've been checking on her. She's probably stronger than all of us. She's just one of those people that is just indestructible.
Let me guess. She sounds like one of the land the land girls, the part of Victory.
She wouldn't be quite that old, but I guess she's. Well, I don't want to guess her age, just in case. But I would imagine she's mid-70s. But she's so active. And she's completely on her own, and she's we're always looking out for her because she's been burgled a couple of times, and now with this everyone's keeping an eye out for each other. And I've been in situations where places I've lived and you have a busy life, and you barely even speak to your neighbours or recognise them because you're always in and out in such a hurry. But it's just, you know, just being a little bit more concerned about others, and just to sort of check in on people and that they're okay, and is there anything you can do for them.
So this is so with this initiative, is it so you just want to keep it within Cambridge? I mean, is that you've kind of perhaps instinctively done that, but you want to keep it within Cambridge with so the swaps will be within Cambridge, or what's your...
The initial thought was, well, I know some people in Cambridge, I can get friends initially starting it off, and if it was all over the country, it'd be a bit of a nightmare. The reason I said Cambs was I thought, well, if it's successful, you know, people could take the idea and do it themselves in wherever. But interestingly, the Federation of Small Businesses has been in touch, and they really love the idea, and they're saying, oh, we're going to watch how the model works, and would you mind if we rolled it out with our members? So I said, yeah, absolutely. You know, if it helps hundreds of people in Cambridge and then thousands of people in the wider community, all on good. And the FSB have been really good. They, if I sort of join, they can give me sort of legal advice, because obviously I don't want to be in a situation where I'm doing something nice and it sort of bites me. That, you know, you could have a situation where someone promises to do the swap and someone regades on it. They said you need to also protect yourself, which I'm glad of that advice, and that's why I put some terms and conditions on the website, because you hear it so often, a story of someone who's tried to do something nice and it's ended up biting them. So I just needed to sort of protect myself and my family as well, just in case it, you know, you got no control over the general public, right?
Unfortunately, you don't. No, but
as we can see them in the parks on sunny days.
Yeah, that's it's a shame. It's a shame people still don't get the gravity of the situation, but there we go.
I think it's finally sinking in. I think I think it was the week before when it was quite warm and sunny, and they were still doing it. And I think, I mean, it's horrible, but I think when they see their Prime Minister has been put into a hospital bed and is in intensive care, hopefully the realisation is finally kicking in that this, you know, this isn't a joke. This isn't time off to go and sunbathe. It's time to stay in and stay safe and stop the spread of it.
Because it's not much of a request, is it? Staying in.
Well, you wouldn't think so, but I mean, yeah, you wouldn't think so. But I don't completely blame them. So, because of all the stuff that we watch and see on the news, not just this but other stuff, I think humanity has become quite desensitized, and they see that stuff happening on a TV screen, and it's not happening to them, so it's not real. So I think that sort of hardwiring in the brain isn't actually attaching the fact that, no, this is real, this is happening, people are dying. And I think it's just taking a little bit of time to catch up with some people to not have house parties, not to go to the park. Don't go to national parks that is an hour drive away to walk your dog. It's, you know, and it's everyone. I saw this piece about, I think it was a health minister in New Zealand.
What a complete plonker he was.
He got caught doing exactly what he was telling the whole nation not to do, and had to resign, and rightly so. If the person that's telling the country to be sensible isn't being sensible, he shouldn't be in that position.
No, it was. Yeah, that was a PR debacle, really. But
yeah.
But anyway.
I think the point is that it doesn't affect me. It doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
And it's either through ignorance or, you know, people in higher positions thinking, oh, the rules don't apply to me. Of course they do. We're all in the same boat. We're all affected by it. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I saw a post on my Facebook feed, a guy that I know is DJ. He posted that his grandmother had passed away yesterday. and it's like it's now becoming real. It's not just stuff that you're reading about in the news. It's affecting people that you know now.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit of realism there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it is. It's just it does. It just brings it home, doesn't it? It does bring it home. But okay, Paul. So, is there anything more you want to tell people about this initiative?
I think we pretty much covered it. As I said, there's no sort of rule book. There's no clear direction with it, because I don't know how it's going to sort of fly with people. But based on the fact that more than, I don't know, I think only a quarter of the people that have actually liked the page are actually people I know.
Nice.
It's testament that it's got legs, and I think it's something that's going to resonate with people. So I think doing stuff like this, and any other sort of media coverage that I get, is going to just accelerate the process for me, because I think it will naturally happen in time with the word getting out. But it's this really helps, because then a load of other people are listening to me babbling on, and hopefully go and like the Facebook page. So when they go on the Facebook page, you can then join the group. So the Facebook page is just a list of sort of what's going on with the actual idea of it. And then there's a button for them to click to sort of join the group, where they can actually introduce themselves, and then start, hopefully people start swapping.
So then, so just type in a Facebook skills and trade swap cams.
Yeah, if they do that, or maybe if we edit after we get this video down, we can just put a screen up with a web address and the URL for the Facebook page. That's probably easier for people, rather than me desperately trying to remember what it is, because I can't. It's only for the Facebook page. I mean, the skills and trade swap cams.co.uk is the website, but what I really want to do is pump people to the Facebook page. So we'll put that up at the end, or maybe on the video we can just have it at the bottom. If you send it over to me, I can sort of edit and cut that in for you.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll get cracking on that.
Cool.
Well, top man, as per usual. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you as a friend, and appreciate the initiative you're trying to help other people. So thanks a lot, Paul.
And thank you, mate, for doing this, because the important thing is getting the word out and getting as many people involved as possible, and that will hopefully make this success of it. So
before we leave it, is there anybody else you'd like to speak to? Because we just set something off in my head that you've had Cambridge Independent, Cambridge Evening News. Is there anywhere else that
it's gone out? I think it went out to about 10 local. I think one of the radio stations is also been in contact. But anyone, if anyone watching this is involved in the media, or is involved in a magazine or anything like that that goes out to the general population in the sort of Cambridgeshire area, by all means get in touch. I'd love to sort of speak to them and get the word out to as many people as possible, because obviously spending the time doing all this, luckily I've got the time, but there will be a time where I need to be doing my work. So it needs to be a thing that self-perpetuates, and it just runs on its own, because I won't have time to manage it once I get to being busy again. So everything that I'm doing, both on the website and on the Facebook page, is I'm trying to automate the process, so I don't have to get involved, apart from being the slightly withered face of
it. So on that note, Paul, lovely to see your slightly withered face, and I'll speak to you soon, Paul. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, man. Nice to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
See you later.